The Supreme Court's handling of Trump cases has sparked fierce debate, with federal judges calling for greater transparency and accountability. As the nation grapples with escalating tensions between the judiciary and the executive branch, a growing number of judges are expressing frustration over the court's reluctance to provide clear explanations for its emergency rulings, which often contradict the president's policies. This situation has become a focal point of controversy, with critics arguing that the court's opaque decisions undermine public trust and threaten the independence of the judiciary. Some judges warn that the court's recent pattern of swift, unexplained rulings, especially in cases involving the Trump administration, is eroding the credibility of the legal system. For example, when lower courts rule against the president, the government often appeals to the Supreme Court, where a 6-3 conservative majority frequently reverses those decisions without offering reasoning. This practice has left lower court judges scrambling to navigate the legal landscape, as they now face a dual challenge: proving their rulings were justified and ensuring their decisions align with the court's evolving stance. The issue gains further traction with the rise of the shadow docket, a secretive portion of the Supreme Court's docket where emergency cases are handled quickly, often without oral arguments or detailed explanations. This trend has been accelerated by the Trump administration's use of executive orders to bypass legislative processes, leading to a surge in cases that test the court's authority. For instance, the 2017 travel ban, which was partially implemented after the court allowed it to proceed, exemplifies how the shadow docket has become a tool for the administration to bypass traditional legal procedures. Judges are increasingly targeted, with reports of bomb threats, swatting incidents, and harassment. High-profile cases, such as those involving immigration policies, have drawn particular attention. The U.S. Marshals Service has reported over 400 threat investigations this year, a stark increase from 224 in fiscal year 2021. Some judges argue that the court's refusal to explain its decisions creates a perception of bias, even as they acknowledge the complexity of the cases they adjudicate. One judge remarked, "It is inexcusable that the court does not provide clarity, leaving lower courts to rely on incomplete information." The court's role in this dynamic is contentious. While some justices defend the institution's ability to operate independently, others criticize the lack of transparency as a betrayal of the judiciary's foundational principles. A notable example is the recent ruling on the firing of independent agency members, where the court's two-page decision allowed the administration to proceed without fully justifying its actions. This has led to calls for reform, with some judges arguing that the court must prioritize public understanding over political expediency. The debate extends to the broader question of whether the court should intervene in matters of national importance. Critics like conservative Justice Neil Gorsuch have argued that the court's reliance on precedent and its tendency to favor the administration in emergency cases undermines the rule of law. Meanwhile, others, such as Judge Matthew Maddox, emphasize the importance of maintaining judicial independence, noting that the court's decisions can shape the trajectory of policy. As the tension between the judiciary and the executive grows, the need for clearer guidelines on how the court should handle emergency cases becomes more urgent. Some judges advocate for a shift toward more transparent decision-making, while others insist that the court's role is to interpret the law, not dictate policy. The divide reflects a deeper conflict. Should the judiciary remain a neutral arbiter, or should it actively shape the direction of national discourse? In the end, the debate hinges on whether the Supreme Court can balance its duty to uphold the law with the need to engage with the complexities of modern governance. As the nation watches the court's actions unfold, the question remains, Will the judiciary emerge as a trusted pillar of democracy? Or will it become a battleground for ideological battles?